everybody. Happy Monday. It's a new week. It's Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving week, guys. We are back on the Daily Rip. I hope everybody's ready for another week. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know how you feeling about this week. I'm expecting a little lower volume and a little more back and forth price action. But how you feeling about this week, Shy?
I mean, first off, we're off to a great start. I think SPY's up 0.7%. I think Qs are up same 0.75%. I mean, it's going to be like what Jordan said, it's going to be a shortened week. It's a holiday week. A lot of big whales are off their desk. It's going to be primarily retail that's going to be moving the market. So when we called out last week, like whatever the trend is in the market, trend is your friend on a shortened week.
I think crypto's the move.
Exactly.
Thanksgiving weekend, Bitcoin, I think we're near that 98K now, coming to hopefully set up to go test that 100K again. So I think that's really the thing to be watching this week, to be honest. Aside from our normal stock talk that we do.
I mean, some of the major pre-market moves, I said 0.7%, but my freaking favorite darlings right now, Palantir is up 4%, hitting a new all-time high pre-market. Snowflake's up 4%. Rock Lab's up over 10%. IonQ's up 5%. The list goes on. Yes, SPY and Qs are up 0.7%, but again, the trend is continuing the past couple weeks. If you look under the hood, the micro growth names in small mid-cap world are running. And a lot of these names have been basing for years. They're clearly breaking out with volume. And I think it's because, we'll get into it later, because I do want to get into some daily chart, but I think it's because that's stage one of the AI thematic, which is compute, servers, and hardware, is now transitioning to stage two, which is the applications. And you're seeing it right now in the small mid-cap growth world on the bids they're catching.
Look at the Russell. Look at the Russell 2000 over the past week, right? It's looking pretty juicy there. But I think I think we're gonna roll on over to the weekend Rip newsletter and kind of recap what happened over the weekend here. But yeah, big shout out Thanksgiving. Let's go. I hope everybody's thankful. I am. Look at what we got. We got StockTwits setting us up on the live stream every day. So shout out to you guys. Let's see. On Monday, stocks lacked sufficient steam to rally throughout the day. Super microcomputer SMCI secured a new auditor. Boston Scientific broke out. And the StockTwits Daily Rip live show premiered on Monday morning. You guys watched that. That was our first week last week. And I don't know. I'm having fun. Shy, you enjoying it?
I love it. I honestly treat this as my journal. A lot of times, information is in my head. I do the reading. I have my subscribers, so I communicate subscribing. But verbally saying something is a different ballgame. It's almost like in school. If you guys remember, once you can study for a test, you'll do fine. But if you have a study partner and you verbalize what you're learning and taking in, and you talk to each other about it, it just sequentially grows in your head. And
why do you guys think I'm on Spaces all day talking with everybody? I mean, there's a reason for it. It's beneficial. It's beneficial.
I mean, we can also talk about a little bit SMCI, because I do get this question a lot. Is this a dip buying opportunity? Is this a dead cat bounce? All right, I'm gonna give you them getting a new auditor. I do think it's near term bullish, because EY, the previous auditor who resigned, has to disclose a lot of information for any new auditors who's going to cover SMCI. So I think SMCI, the new auditor, has everything. He knows the whole landscape, and he's willing to accept SMCI. So I think that provides a floor on how bad the accounting fraud is, the allegations towards SMCI. But I still don't think there's a bull case long term. Commodity business, low margins. You're seeing the gross margins get cannibalized from HPE and Dell. So I think short-term bounce, maybe a trade, but long-term investment, I think it's a no bueno.
No, I agree. I actually had this name in my long term for a while. It was more of a trade in the long term, though. At the end of the day, I mean, because I got rid of it. It's out of my long term now. Again, SMCI is a trading vehicle, sure, and I'm with you. Last week had a strong week. I think we could see a little bit of continuation to the upside, but for a long term investment, I'm not interested. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But it helped my long term for some gains, so I appreciate that. And it was a little bit of a trade in the long term for sure, but not looking to hold that forever. Not at all. Looks like on Tuesday we had obviously markets brace for NVIDIA Day. Bulls were back in town. meme coins. Meme coins are going crazy over this past. I mean, really the past month, things have been going nuts. But really, you've seen every. I mean, if you're scrolling TikTok and you follow anything stock related, pretty much every time you scroll and you see somebody live streaming, it's somebody trading some meme coin. It's some teenager like trading some meme coin, trying to pump things. It's just ridiculous. So, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot of opportunity to make a lot of money. It's very risky, right? You got to be diversified with that stuff. And I'm not personally jumping at it, but I do see the opportunity there, and I see why people are jumping at it. It's just you got to understand what you're trading, right? And it's hot garbage. It's completely hot garbage. So
the comparison I love to say is like when the table, like if you're gambling in Vegas when the table's high, let it run, let it double down on your plays. That's what altcoins is. Like crypto's hot right now. The table's high. Altcoins is the way of just like let it ride, and this is the way to make the most bang for your buck in the shortest amount of time. But again, remember, it's a sprint, not a jog, not a marathon. This time it will be this nasty rug pull in a lot of these altcoins, meme coins. So be cautious.
Well, they're all going to rug at some point, and then it just doesn't come back up, you know. Usually,
exactly.
You know, if you're in this game, you're probably in 10, 20 different coins, very diversified, and you're expecting most of them to rug and, you know, one or two of them to go. At some point, though, all of them are just going to go down, and it's done. It's done until the next big run.
It could last years, though. You never know when it's going to rug pull.
Exactly. Like, so we'll see.
You could 10x in the meantime, yeah.
Yeah. But just to recap, too, a little bit on NVIDIA Day, pretty much option sellers won. We talked about that a little bit before NVIDIA Day came. It was pretty perfect for the option sellers, right? You couldn't have had a better scenario, to be honest. And we saw that pretty much the same time last earnings, right? I mean, very similar IV crush. Option sellers really took the win there. And honestly, I see, shout out Paper Gains. He's one of the traders on our morning Twitter spaces. He really capitalizes on selling options during earnings because it's not a directional play. And a lot of the time, you guys know, I mean, directional plays during earnings can really just not be a recipe for success at the end of the day. So I would definitely, if you're in the chat and you know you find yourself maybe playing a lot of earnings plays, I would familiarize yourself with option selling during earnings. I think that could be a nice road to go down.
But you have to know when to. Like people like if Snowflake, you have gotten burnt. But like you have to know, like look to the left. Like if a name has run up significantly, ask yourself what's being priced in. Nvidia is up 200% into their earnings print. Like a lot of positivity that they communicated on that earnings was repriced in. So that's why it's kind of consolidating in the 140s. So I do think you have to look to the left, and small mid cap is not the time to like really be selling calls, but like the big runners that are large cap, a pretty good strategy.
Yeah, 100%. I know we got some data throughout the week here. Bullets from the week. Oh, did Baidu break the robo-taxi code? I feel like did you talk about this, Shay, on Twitter?
I haven't yet.
No? Are you familiar with it?
I mean, I from what I've been hearing from people in that space who know that Eastern world, Baidu isn't really the best company for this. So I don't know. I feel like it's still Elon's game to lose, like across the whole world, and especially like what he's doing when he hits up Z and flies across the world in his private jet to like orchestrate this deal. Like I forgot, was it earlier this year, last year? I think that just speaks of what Tesla's presence might be in China, but also like the Trump-led presidency, that there might be some tariff wars, but that might open the window for Baidu to get a pretty interesting niche within that economy for autonomy. And it could be, but again, I stay away from China names. Just look at the last 10-year performance. Like it's tricky. Like you have missed out on some bangers in the U.S. economy if you just went hard in Alibaba and JD, etc.
100%. This week, obviously, going to be interesting with markets closed for Thanksgiving. We got a half day on Friday, but throughout the week, we actually got a decent amount of data coming out. You can see Chicago Fed National Activity Index, got Dallas Fed Manufacturing, consumer confidence, new home sales, GDP, and PCE are on the same day. I think initial jobless claims are that day as well. All basically at the same time. I don't think I've personally seen that before. Maybe I've been around for it, Shy. I just didn't notice it. But have you ever seen a GDP and PCE print come out on the same morning?
I think they're trying to squeeze in a lot of macro data in a
Yeah.
holiday week.
Yeah.
Again, I just don't think anything's going to really move the needle macro wise until like next year. I really think we're like golden until the end of the year right now. Like after, especially after this week, which is historically this week isn't actually a good thing for the market. Like there is somewhat of a pullback that occurs historically, but the trend's been so strong, and it's not just like a trend made of thin air. It's based on actual macro information, the Fed being on our side, etc. That I do think like the next like 4 to 6 weeks is going to be really bullish in the market, and there's going to be no data that's going to really buck the trend, especially with Trump picking Besant for the Treasury. Like, look at the yields right now; they're all going lower and lower, and that is bullish. They like we'll get into like some Palantir news as well that, later in the show, but like Trump is doing so many things that's so bullish for the capital markets that it's not just the Fed's on our side. Like we have a president who's incentivizing the capital markets substantially, that is at a historical rate that previous presidents haven't done. And I think it's a part of the mentality that Trump's been FOMO, like not FOMO, but he doesn't give a F anymore because this is last for like he's not gonna be president again. He wants to set up the capital markets. He wants to help his homies out. I think you're seeing that a little with these appointees, and we love it because we're in this game that's benefiting the capital. If you're capital markets, and it's gonna be a crazy run next couple of years. I will say it's gonna be really entertaining.
100%. Yeah, I'm with you. I expect honestly some volatility from all that data this week, but I don't think we see much follow through with any of those moves. So hopefully fun to trade throughout the week for the day trades, but probably not too many follow through on any swing trades I'll be taking personally. We got some earnings this week as well. Ones that I'm watching personally are going to be Macy's, Abercrombie & Fitch, Best Buy. I personally am a long-term shareholder of Best Buy, so I'll be watching that. CrowdStrike I know is on the radar for everybody. That'll be fun. I know Shay likes that one. Dell's interesting. I'm gonna be watching that as well. So got some companies to go through. I'll be listening to those earnings calls live as well. But anything you're particularly interested in this week, Shay?
Yeah, so if, a clear trend in Q3 earnings has been lagging software companies catching major bids after their earnings. So Zoom is on watch this afternoon. I think I'm very bearish on Zoom. Their product is a commodity. That whole space is a commodity. They didn't do what they needed to do with the first mover advantage. Now they aren't really a exciting enough company to acquire, but they're also not a company that's well equipped to get through this commodity stage of their bread and butter products. Like I think they're a dead company, just not going anywhere. But they might catch a bid because it's that kind of environment right now. And tomorrow for CrowdStrike, that's where my eyes are at because that's a top 3 position for me. They officially like filled that gap from the July 19 outage in a matter of like a couple months. So now they have that premium valuation again associated to their name, and this outage incident is not going to go away right away. Like it's going to be a couple quarters. You're going to see that direct impact because they had to incentivize a lot of their customers on their F up. Like we're sorry, we're going to help you out this way, this way, this way. That's going to come at the expense of their margins. So like you're going to see some wonky, low top line growth, margin decline. But this is all very short lived because you've seen this dip getting bought up, and they still have the best endpoint product in the market, and cybersecurity will be a key theme for the next decade plus, especially with the rise of AI. So I think a lot of people are overlooking the short-term bump for those long-term gains in CrowdStrike, but it's ran up a lot ahead of tomorrow's print. Tomorrow's print isn't going to provide a rosy picture.
Well, it recaptured that whole down move, right?
Yeah, that
we got from that nasty news. I mean, that was ugly. I know a lot of people were kind of rethinking things on that day, but clearly that was a very good buy the dip scenario, right? That just gave us all an opportunity to pick up some there. So I thought that was nice. Zoom actually, just to recap here, Zoom up to $88 here, $88.19 in pre-market, making a high break on the daily here. It's actually,
it's a trade. I think it's going to be a trade. Yeah.
I don't trade Zoom much at all. It's been a long time since I traded Zoom, but this chart is looking nice from the lows. I will say it's doing well, but I'm with you. I don't think that lasts for forever. So We will see.
All right, so let's go to StockTwits right now to see what is trending on the tickers before the market.
Let's take a look.
I feel like a lot of news dropped this morning. Again, on a Monday
Well,
morning, it's
you want to talk
quiet,
about
not quiet today.
You know, what's down 85% this morning, Shay?
Sava. Okay, so this is a name
I know you got a thing with Sava. Let's
yeah,
hear
it's like, all right. So if you guys don't know what Cassava Science is, it's essentially they're trying to launch a product that's going to solve or tackle the Alzheimer's disease market, which is the rosiest of markets. Like so many names are trying to solve this issue that's affecting 20 plus million people a year. Like it's a massive illness that there's been no product out there that can solve it. So whenever there's like a speculative science that's going to like, whoa, if they actually solve this problem, they're gonna like print billions of dollars in a matter of years.
It's gonna get attention right away, at least. Yeah.
But this is not it. I've been saying for like past year or so, like, you guys, this I get a speculative bet. Like, I'm a genomics investor. Like, I think genomics is really interesting. There's so many red flags with this Sava name that like you had to read between the lines. Their chief researcher got accused of fraud for messing up the data. Their CEO resigned from that. This is a 44% short float, and rarely see a number that high, 40+% on a company being shorted. And this is pre-revenue, highly dilutive. Like, there's just so many red flags, but people were just like so forward-looking and overlooking these like issues, red flags, thinking they're short, like the little issues in the long grand scheme of things, but it wasn't. It's just, these are major red flags. And today the data wasn't good enough. It got announced today the data wasn't good enough to solve the Alzheimer's disease, and now it's down 85% pre-market. I think the days are over for this name, and I really feel bad for a lot of retailers who got into this name, because I have seen a lot of people on Twitter, etc., like not pumping this name, but like being bullish on this name, when I do think like if you did some due diligence on your own end, you could see all these red flags and see like how there's not really a great case for this company going
It's
forward.
definitely no crowd strike by the dip scenario.
Yeah, it's not,
I know.
Or it's like there's specific biotech's a dangerous game too. Like, you're clearly saying it like 80% in one day. Like, that doesn't really happen to any other industry except for biotech. And this is not a buying the dip opportunity.
Happy Monday.
Like, they don't have any like attractive IP or product. Like, I just think this is not a good company. Don't buy that dip. And I'm not surprised. It's extremely bearish.
Yeah, sentiments. Hey, I love to see StockTwits getting it right.
Yeah.
Looks like the people on StockTwits are with you.
Well, 6 months ago they're bullish. That's the scary thing.
Wow,
so you're going to see some bag holders.
Of people were already out for the poll on what is your plan for Sava now. Good. I mean, love to see that. That's awesome. Majority of people were already out, so I mean, that's a great thing to see. I would have hated to. Oh, some people were short too. Shout out to that. You're gonna wake up happy.
I wonder if the IV was on some contracts.
Oh, I don't even.
Yeah, I don't even know if today's like there was everyone was expecting data to be released today. If they weren't, those IVs are probably low and prints are cashing in, but we'll see on that. I know another name's catching a bit on, I think, some news. I don't know if it's correlated, but Palantir, if you want to pull that up. So Palantir's up over 4% pre-market. It's hitting a new all-time high. The news story that dropped this morning was Trump's considering the venture capitalist Trey Stevens or private equity investor Steven Feinberg for the top Pentagon role. I think this is a huge, huge move, mainly because you're seeing a shift towards modernization on DoD towards defense. And this was one of the theses I had on Trump becoming president, why it's so bullish on Palantir, is the sequential increase on the budget towards defense is going to increase 100% when Trump's becoming president. Like, he's defend our land. That's his whole thing. Keep it in-house, stuff like that. But now that incremental increase towards defense isn't towards missiles anymore, or like the Lockheed Martins. Like, it's something that's changed. The landscape's changing since the last time he was president 4 years ago. It's towards AI specifically, and data analytics, and using data as your own defense. And there is only one company that kind of can provide that at scale for the government, and that's why the government uses them consistently. It's Palantir. So if you get these two major players at a top spot for Pentagon, who are in the hedge fund space, in the private equity space, who know Silicon Valley, who know tech, they're going to kind of push some more cash towards Palantir, knowing like that's our best chance on being the prime, like the best defense nation in the world, and we're gonna keep it in house, especially with Karp, who's a CEO who's very mission oriented. His whole thing is defending the West. It's like a perfect synergy,
Yeah.
and I do think like any kind of narrative you're seeing on defense budget increasing, like in my head, it's like all right, a substantial part of that will be towards Palantir, and Palantir's government side of their business has always been their high floor. Like they were always known as the black box consulting company for the governments. Now they're turning into a enterprise AI player, but still, like the government side of the business is highly unpredictable.
Wow,
on the
SPY at
deals.
600 right before the open here. Dang.
It did? Jeez.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like this is so bullish as we enter the year.
I mean, yeah,
end the year.
Palantir, the chart couldn't be more bullish. You pull up that chart, it's just absolutely amazing. But on top of that, I mean, you're explaining a very, a strong catalyst for upside. You got the best of both worlds there. So, yeah, definitely no shorts on Palantir for me, and I would not advise that. That's for sure.
Let's see what else is moving.
Well, we had Bath and Body Works earnings this morning. They're ripping here.
I thought they filed for bankruptcy.
I guess not.
I guess not.
I guess not. 36.75 here from 30.70 on the close on Friday. So looking pretty good to the upside there.
I mean, this brings up the renaissance.
12%.
Listen, these brick and mortars are going through somewhat of a renaissance. It's actually such an interesting case study. Like you're seeing it with like Abercrombie, you saw it with Gap, Bath and Body Works. Like that's again one of my bull case. Like Best Buy is one as well. Like that's why one of my bull cases for Nike turning it around is like, how could they not? Like you're seeing this renaissance across the board in that space. Like Nike has the logistics, the brand awareness. Like they should be able to turn the ship. So yeah, it's weird. This is like e-commerce didn't like destroy these businesses. Like they hurt them in the near term, but they're bouncing. Like there's somewhat of a renaissance that's occurring with these like brick and mortar names.
Yeah, 100%. We got about 8 minutes till the open here. I just wanted to run through one of the setups I'm personally looking at for a potential swing. Any setups that I'm setting myself up for, like on the swing side of things this week, I'm not expecting to really do much throughout the week, given, Thanksgiving. I'm really expecting them to start kicking off next week or, into the week after that. But Uber, I actually sold all my long-term shares a little bit while ago and threw it all into Tesla.
Good.
I was very happy with that decision. But for the short term, I like it for a potential trade for sure. We're up actually in pre-market already, pretty good. Going to test this daily 21 EMA around $73, but I'm looking for dips back down to Thursday's high of day personally. If I get any dips down to there, I'm looking to long for a swing, and as long as we're holding above that area and close above that, I like it for potential upside. And I would have a few targets. One target was $72, but we're over that. So obviously, if we get back to my entry, that'll be first target, then 73.63 and 76.40, and then if we get over that, I would love to see $80. But that depends on how we go into the week and how I position myself and whether or not we even get the dip there. But that's just one setup I'm kind of watching for the week that I wanted to put on people's radar. Obviously, Tesla looking really good. It closed really strong Friday, holding over that previous day high, closed above it, and now we're at a new higher high break on the daily chart here, actually 362.27. So looking really good. The next big level I personally have on Tesla is 371.60. So I'd watch out for that. I think if we are trending a bit and getting a nice move, we could end up seeing that that 370 area. So that could be a nice price target. But yeah, it's kind of what I'm watching just for the morning here. I know we got the open about to kick off. So if I do take any trades, I'll let the crew know. But anything you're watching?
Yeah, I mean, going off of Uber and Tesla, like I did write a short report on Uber this past summer, and I don't think it was a very popular one because a lot of people made a lot of money on Uber, and they're just clearly like printing cash.
I did well too. It was not easy to sell my shares. Because I do like the company, and I made some good money on the shares. Didn't exactly want to sell them, but it was a decision I had to make, right?
Well, people have a difficult time on admitting a potential disruptor to a company that clearly is hitting all-time highs. And Tesla's autonomy, if they can solve it, which I'm highly confident they can, and the robo-taxi network, they're going to follow suit when they do, it's going to be such a disruptor to Uber that I think a lot of Uber investors are underestimating it. Because I feel like if you're an Uber investor, you are bullish on Elon's ways. I mean, bearish on Elon's ways. You think it's a very fugazi type stuff. It's not a reality. But really, he's delivered. Yes, his timeline is really wonky, but he's delivered almost every single one of his initiatives across the board. And I think with Trump becoming president, that his vision is becoming much more of a reality, especially in the near term. And in the post-AI world, capitalism is about to get so freaking brutal that, like, if you think capitalism is brutal now, just wait until AI just gains even more and more steam. The only way to survive in the post-AI capitalistic world is owning an IP or the actual technology. Being a network isn't good enough anymore, in my opinion. Owning logistics is also another one that you absolutely must need to do. Uber doesn't own any IP, any technology. It's a network. They've tried to create some proprietary technology themselves. They failed. So now they use their network or leverage it to partner up with all the different companies who have their IP and technology and whatever autonomy that they're trying to tackle. But Tesla's about to disrupt all of that for everyone. Waymo can't compete with Tesla. Waymo is very specific on what they can do, and
they're
it's
limited.
not going to ever
That means
scale.
they're limited, right? When you're very specific about what you're doing, that
It won't
means you're
scale.
limited, right?
Yeah.
Tesla, Elon's like, we'll do it all. I mean,
Exactly.
He's so innovative, right? So that's a big plus for the company.
But also the argument I'm getting from the Uber bulls is like, all right, well, Tesla will just partner up with Uber. When in the
Why?
past decade has Elon ever partnered up with a company, especially a company that he can just
What benefit
kill
would that
off?
be for Elon or Tesla in the long run, really?
It wouldn't.
just
And maybe
wouldn't.
it would save some capex in the near term, but he doesn't care about the next couple of years. He's a visionary. Like, he's not going to partner up with Uber. He's just going to try to shutter it. And I don't think Uber's going to die off. I'm not saying that, but I am saying their margins are going to get somewhat hit. And when you have a robo-taxi fleet of network with no workforce costs associated with it, you're going to be able to undercut Uber's pricing for consumers because you don't have to pay for a driver. And again, consumers are loyal to two things: pricing and convenience. Pricing is a major part of ride sharing. Absolute major part. I don't care. I go on Lyft and Uber. Whatever's cheapest, I'm going to order. I have no loyalty.
Yeah.
That's my bear case on Uber. And I just think, oh my God, I don't know what they're going to have to do to offset that, and maybe just go really partnership with Waymo or the other
It would have to be
competitors.
some sort of partnership, or I mean, come out with some crazy innovative new thing. I don't know, because
But again, it won't scale. It won't scale though.
Yeah.
It'll just be hyper specific on San Francisco, LA, New York,
Exactly.
etc.
Yeah, I agree. Market is about to open. Trade safe, everyone. Yeah, you too, Austin. Everybody. Hopefully, I'm gonna start the Monday off a little chill. I'm not gonna be jumping in anything probably right at the open, but I'm watching for my setups. I'm ready to go. Probably gonna be trading more futures this week, to be honest. Just expecting all that back and forth price action. I'd rather capitalize on that with the futures. What's up? What happened?
Remember that after the Snowflake earnings Thursday afternoon, I said Friday morning pre-market. Wait, was Snowflake's earnings Thursday? Whatever Snowflake's earnings were, I said the morning after, before the market, like, sympathy play. Watch out for MongoDB. It's up 30% since I said that for 3 or 4 days. It's catching a major bid. It's up 5% pre-markets. Watching out for that.
Completely filled that gap and running. Wow.
A lot of people don't realize like what MongoDB is, and that's like, I won't get into it too much because I know it's going to bore
what
a lot
this
of the
looks
techies.
like when you put it on the monthly? It looks very similar to the long-term Tesla consolidation to me. It's very similar. Doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying chart. This chart means. Not saying that means anything. But
market just opened. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right, Tesla
Take a
is
look.
Tesla dumping? I don't think Tesla's dumping. It's at 360.
I mean,
Nvidia is
back.
red though, so that's interesting. Nvidia is red this morning. Let's see what else.
Needs to
CrowdStrike
lows.
CrowdStrike selling off is red as well. Whoa.
A little de-risking before earnings after filling that massive gap back to the upside.
Which makes sense. I would do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's gonna be minimal upward surprises.
Tesla has a gap from over the weekend. I would look for that to fill unless we can get over Friday's high, which is 361.54 here. If we can get over that and hold, then I don't expect that gap to really come into play today. But anywhere close to that gap, I mean, the closer we get to 356, the more and more I think we're going to try and fill that overnight gap, which it's not very large anyway. So then you can look for buyers at the bottom. That oil got hit pretty hard. I don't know if you saw, Shay, but market kind of caught a nice bid right into the start of the show there. Now we're pulling back, and oil got smacked pretty hard. I don't know if you trade. You don't trade many futures, do you?
No, I don't trade any futures.
Gotcha. Yeah, no
I should.
I just got into it recently, to be honest. I've always been an options trader, and like shares, I've never really dipped into the futures until recently. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's a good time. It's a good time. I was just gonna ask you about oil, but I assume you probably don't trade it much. The consolidation is nasty. If you trade oil, you know. If you just look at the monthly, we've been sideways forever. It's gross.
I'm looking. So it's not looking too bullish right now, guys. On it feels like it's very selly a bit. Our profit taking on a lot of these small mid cap names,
especially getting that gap up over the weekend. Again, it doesn't surprise me that people are waking up and pressing the sell button right now at all.
Let's see what Bitcoin's doing right now.
Yeah.
How close are we to Bitcoin hitting that 1K, 100K? No.
Well, it's at 97.2 here, so definitely getting a nice pullback. But again, I will see a lot of the time. I mean, we get one little pullback. I see crypto investors really start to freak out. I mean, when we were in that monthly flag, kind of pulling back to the monthly 21, that 50K, I mean, everybody and their mother I talked to was freaking out. And I'm looking at the chart. I'm going, this looks so beautiful. I get, price is down a little bit, but the whole setup looked phenomenal to me. And so kind of just bumping back down to the daily chart now and looking at it, I see kind of the same type of just consolidation. We're not seeing heavy selling. It's sideways, healthy price action to the right, So to me, as long as price is holding and not, we're not getting these massive sellers coming in and these massive red candles, I think this is a dip in consolidation for the next leg up on Bitcoin. So, yeah, I still think we're in the boat of setting up for that 100K test. For sure.
I mean, I just can't believe Nvidia's down over 1% while everything's kind of raging a bit.
Yeah, and that's a tell. I don't know, for the day traders out there, if you're trading QQQ or trading futures on NQ. I mean, I basically just watch NVIDIA all day because where NVIDIA goes, QQQ is going to follow eventually for the most part.
It used to, though. Maybe it doesn't anymore. I mean,
sometimes we get divergence.
There's maybe a disconnect. Yeah.
No, sometimes there is a disconnect for sure, like even right now, right? I mean, you see Qs getting bought up while NVIDIA's still making lower lows looking pretty nasty. So sometimes you will see that divergence. But overall,
everyone's looking for that Black Friday deal.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Tesla trying to get bought up at the bottom of that overnight range there. Coinbase getting hit kind of hard from those highs. I've had to be cautious with Coinbase here. I got the trade I wanted last week perfectly. I wasn't expecting to get it in one day, and we hit it in one day. I was expecting it to be like a week-long swing, and it came a lot faster than I thought, and we're just really struggling to make that higher high break and get continuation. So I got my 327 level. I got out, and I'm happy with that decision because we're pulling back now. It's still healthy though, within the range. Everything's holding. It's just I don't want to be holding no contracts there. Nvidia's
just broke 140 and it's down 2%. So this feels like it's gonna pull the market down with it. I think that I'm looking at some Qs puts right now, just short-term $500 strikes. I think it's a low volume week, so it won't take much to move a market, in my opinion. And like Nvidia it's just bleeding, it's continuing, and it broke that 140, which is a key support level in my eyes that I think the Qs are going to follow right now. So waiting to see. I don't love getting into a position 5 minutes after open. I like digestion. So I want to see how the market's going to react to Nvidia like breaking through that 140. Right now, it's looking like it's all right. It's catching a bid. With Nvidia still hovering at the 140 level.
Yeah. If we can bounce like just below this 140 here and reclaim that 140.08, I think we have potential to hold up and maybe get some upside. But if we're really losing that level right now, I have us going to that next daily high, which is we're actually coming in this level right now, 138.96. So looking to see if there's any buyers there, see if we hold, and if not, then I see NFP levels, November NFP high, which is 137.30.
Let's go. Snow up 5%. Just broke above 155.
Shai's loving that. Hey, love to see a name that you're, pretty decently invested in when the market's all going up here.
Dude, it was the biggest eyesore because my top 3 is Palantir, CrowdStrike, and Tesla, and I got.
Also, you're just looking at Snow. Just like, oh.
And it's like Snow is like, oh my god, it's my only one. It's like freaking red. Everything else is up 100%. Like that's clearly an eyesore, and I'm glad it's working out. But now I'm looking, dude, it feels. I'm not confident in this. I'm like waiting. I'm
gold finally
towards.
Back. Wow. Oh, it's pulling back pretty good too here on gold. This is. I'm not surprised we're selling this much on gold this morning, given the one. It was a straight 5 days of continuous bullish price action. I mean, every single day we just basically retested the previous day high, held and ran, and just kept doing that until today. Now we're finally getting some selling, which is going to bring some opportunity for me. I missed out on a lot of this gold upside trade over the past week, and I was a little butthurt about it, but. We're going to be coming back into some big levels, so maybe I get some more opportunity there.
Well, are you surprised that gold's still catching a bid with Bitcoin hitting 100K? Because I feel like that's the digital gold, and I thought that would take some demand away from the actual gold.
A little bit, but I think I do think just from a technical standpoint, gold, the spot we've been in on this dip, it's such a big spot, and we came down here with like no buying going on in between. So I was definitely thinking, like, even if gold is going to sell. And, it's like, okay, everybody sell their gold, go buy Bitcoin. I think we needed this bounce to at least come up and make a lower high, right, on these charts. Because, for sure, I'm with you. Like, we could see sellers coming in off these highs. I do think getting those 5 consecutive days in a row is a little suspicious to me, especially the way it rallied. Like, I don't know. It feels a little weird to me. So I'm kind of with you in that boat of, if we come back down and we lose these previous lows of basically 25.60, it's not looking too good for gold.
Well, you know who the real winner is of gold? Is a lot of kids out there. Grandpa and grandma are going to give you some really good gifts with gold hitting these levels.
Yep. 100%. Actually, this leads me. I want to check out that BTGD. That Bitcoin
that stacked ETF.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, we've been watching this ETF that's 100% exposure to both Bitcoin and gold, which we all know. I mean, that's super interesting, obviously, given the two audiences there. They're pretty different and not very, supportive of one another, I guess. So to see exposure on both of those in an ETF is pretty cool. It is pulling back a bit here this morning, but not bad at all.
Well, nice to see that. Nice to see that actually works, though. If gold goes down, it goes down with it.
Yeah.
Because when it goes up, it goes up.
Absolutely. I will say, from a technical standpoint, we're already opening up like an inside week. So we opened up like way below the high from last week, and we're just in the middle here. Which generally, what I'm getting at is I'm generally never seeing a big reversal from an inside weekly candle like that, so I do expect a lot more upside on this name. We'll see though.
So Nvidia just got back above 140, so I'm looking now. All right, I'm glad I didn't buy the puts. This is why you should wait a little.
You gotta let price action do its thing and see. It's tough though. You can get a little antsy.
Of course, like especially when you're like, I don't know, like things feel a little frothy with how easy it's seeming. I will say that, where my head's getting a bit bigger. And if that's the case, I'm like, I need to get humbled a bit. And I feel like that's kind of common right now. It's happening across investors. But let's see what else is running or what's moving. Let's see what Sava's doing, actually. Is it
Looks like
Is
Shai's
that dip getting bought on Saba?
Well, I'm personally looking at Nvidia options as well. I'm not. Again, I've said it on the show. I'm not a big trader on Nvidia. I do hold long-term shares, but I'm not too much of a trader on the options, which is surprising, I'm sure. But the opportunity here this morning, I do like Shay was saying, reclaiming that 140. That's a spot I want to see us reclaim. We just filled that daily gap again, and we're holding. Looks like there's gap fill buyers so far, at least. So, what I want to see on Nvidia, I haven't taken any calls yet, but I'm definitely looking at the options chain right now and making some decisions. I want to see a close over Friday's low today. That would be ideal if we do pick up some calls on Nvidia and hold that. We want to see a close over that Friday low for today, and then I can end up targeting. My first target would be around that 142.70, and then really I can target those next daily highs where that gap starts at 145.20, and then into Friday's high a day, which is 147, and etc. So bit of a setup here. I need to look at these calls. Shay, are you back?
I am back.
There he is. A little cut out. That's all good. No worries. Are you? I'm actually about to pick up some Nvidia options myself.
Downside or up?
Upside.
Yeah, it's that 140. It's a very interesting pin right now. It's just sitting right at that level. I'm watching Snowflake's really breaking out. It's up 6% now. The key level to watch for Snowflake for like stupid upside, I think, once it clears their 200 SMA on the weekly chart, which is at 195, I think it's going to break that 200. And inevitability, it's going to go towards 215, which is the fair value of Snowflake right now. Mentioned this last week. That gap up experience up 30%, like that's not going to be short lived. It's going to be a complete re-rating that's occurring in the stock because of that that narrative issue they've had is now finally behind them. They're going to be leading the AI revolution on the application side. You're already seeing analysts this morning, Dan Ives from Wedbush. He upgraded Snowflake from neutral to outperform because of that narrative switch that occurred last week. This is going to cause a re-rating to occur, and the fair value using all the comps right now for Snowflake is 215. But I think it's going to be more than that because they don't deserve just to be at the fair value for the comp. They're a premium company. No other company really has 40% of the global 2000 data stored in their ecosystem. Like Snowflake deserves a premium because of that advantage. And I think it's going to trend towards that 250 level. And it's one of those names that haven't ran this. Yeah, it's still red this year. And it's a high quality name that was clearly on sale. It's going to be a gold rush of FOMO-like behavior in this name. And that's why I'm not trimming. I'm not selling. I want to buy. I'm annoyed I didn't buy more after that gap up on the earnings. But it was a 12% position for me. But I think this is one of those names that's going to carry a portfolio in 2025. Because a lot of these names have ran up. Like the big tech, the NVIDIAs, even Palantir, there is a certain amount that they can run up next year because valuation has to come up to some kind of concern where right now Palantir is trading at 120 times 2025 free cash flow. Well, if it goes up 30% next year, sure, maybe they can be trading at 150 times, but come on. There's a certain level of the fundamentals need to catch up to them, and there is somewhat of their price to perfection, and yes, they can continue to deliver perfect results. But you just saw NVIDIA. NVIDIA just delivered perfect results, and the reaction after their earnings is disappointing to a lot of people, but also it's holding up. That's kind of what you want to see in a stock that's gone 200% this year. I almost want to say Palantir might be in the same category as an NVIDIA, but also it's hard to say that because you're seeing all these headlines that's so bullish and beneficial for Palantir going forward in the Trump-led presidency that a lot of these estimates probably aren't factoring or pricing in all these new movements that's occurring on Trump becoming president. So I'm in a wait and see approach, and I'm not trimming at all my shares. It's still my number one holding. So I do think they're gonna be a mega cap company one day. I could care for the short term noise that's gonna occur, but I think you have to look. You're gonna see the appetite go elsewhere for 2025 on what's the next Palantir, what's the next runner. Snowflake will be that, and that's why they're gonna continue to catch a bid.
Yeah, I agree. I personally just entered some. I just entered some NVIDIA calls. I'm risking until that 138.50 area personally. These are not. This is not a day trade though. This is a swing trade. These are December calls, 145. So I'm in a bit of those. Again, we want to see a reclaim of
I don't hate that,
yesterday's
though.
low. Ideally, I mean, if you want to play it safer, you can always wait until we actually, like, the way my strat works is I could have waited until we actually reclaimed Friday's low and then enter. It's a little bit safer, but I'm trying to get a bit of a better price, and I can adjust my risk the same way that I would do it, if I was entering there. So I don't mind grabbing them here and trying it. But gotta hold these daily lows. It really under these NFP levels that I have 137.30, things could get a little nasty.
Dude.
So
Hims and Hers is running this morning.
Oh,
15% is about to hit
it always
30.
running. It doesn't stop.
I might buy some puts on this long term. I'm very bearish on this name. I'm very short on this name. So I do think that this Amazon disruption should not be overlooked. I think it's a complete game changer on long-term fundamentals for Hims and Hers health. Maybe in the next couple of months, the stock will do well because it takes time for a major player to disrupt what you're excelling at. But long term, there's no chance that Hims and Hers margins will last when you have Amazon specifically trying to disrupt you, and then you also have Google trying to enter the space. I might buy some. I'm looking at some $20 puts on Hims, but long term, Expo, maybe January 2026 is what I'm looking at. But end of the day, I might wait on this because I'm very bullish in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So there's no point in me buying puts if I think the overall scheme of the market will be bullish. I think a lot of these sentiments are just going to ride these names for the near term. I think entering 2025 though, I do think I'm going to have a decent. I'm not going to short the stock. I'd rather buy some puts, and I think it's going to be some $20 strikes, especially if it stays at this level. But it's a name that's catching a bid. Again, I could be wrong with this name. I just think there's no moat in what Hims and Hers does, and they have a first mover advantage. And in a the capitalistic world, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be highly disruptive for companies who don't own any IP or technology, and the network effect isn't good enough anymore. This is a perfect example of that, especially with telehealth being an absolute commodity of a business. Pricing and convenience is all that matters, and they won't have that with Amazon and Netflix. So not Netflix, Google. So looking to buying some calls, but puts. Let's see what else is running. Wow, it's probably gonna hit that $30 level for Hims and Hers. Rivian's catching a bid, 8%. Was there any EV tax news that occurred? Let's see. I can't see anything. It might just be just the whole sector settlement. Oh, the settlement with Tesla is great news. So they settled Tesla. Interesting. Did you know, Jordan, any Rivian and Tesla beef?
No, I did not.
Besides obviously being the little brother of Tesla.
Yeah, the little brother. I mean, you could always play it as a sympathy during earnings and things like that. It usually moves pretty similar, but I own a little bit just because I feel like I have to own a little bit. But I'm not a big Rivian guy, to be honest. But I do have some shares.
What's your stop loss on Nvidia, Jordan? By the way,
I'm looking for that 138.50 area.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to. My headphones are all screwed up and they're not connected, so I'm trying to
all
fix
good.
That. But yeah, Nvidia 138.50. I really don't want to see under that. We're coming into that level right now. Just like a break of that. I'm not gonna stop out personally. I need to see a move through and some momentum. But yeah, watching this general area right now. Again, if we do catch a bid, great. Looking overall, we need to catch the bid and move to Friday's low, and reclaim that. If we get there, if we retest and we get rejection, it's Nvidia telling us that this is not going to work right now. So,
market's definitely fading right now. Nvidia is taking down the market, in my opinion.
I am down 12% on my position right now, personally.
I think I'm gonna get into some SPY puts. I think this is. I waited long enough. I think I'm getting a. Let's see, wait. So I think I'm getting enough of a signal that Nvidia is not ready to kind of bounce from this earnings gap, not gap down, just earnings sell off. Like I think Nvidia is going to be driving the market down, and I just I needed them to see above 140, and I just don't. I think there's gonna be some profit taking that's gonna occur. A lot of like these traders, investors, like think about it. Like you've made so much money just the past 2 weeks alone since Trump became president that I think entering a shortened week that historically is bearish in the market, like you don't want to hold these gains into like the holiday weekend. Like just take some chips off the table and like you can get back in starting next week if you want. And I think, I don't know, if you see like Nvidia down 2.4% and like it's clearly using that 140 as a resistance, not support anymore, I'm a little cautious in the market. I do think like Nvidia has their hands in so many different segments of the economy, industries, that if they're not really going with the market, I do think that's a headwind. It's not like a breath is widening. I think you need Nvidia to participate for the longevity of this bull market rally. So and SPY's below 600 now again. So I'm gonna look into some SPY puts. I think it's gonna be $500 strikes. Did I say 500? My bad. I'm looking at 580 puts for SPY. That's gonna be expiring December 20th. The reason I picked that level is just it's like the 9 EMA on the weekly charts at 585. I think we kind of sliced through that a bit. If you notice, like every single time we do have somewhat of a pullback, or it's like beginning of November it occurred, beginning of September it occurred, like it's always sliced through the 9 EMA, but it's always bounced before it hit the 21 EMA. And the 21 EMA is at 569. So I'm just taking 585 minus 569, just the middle ground of that. So you could do 575 if you want, but I'm just taking 580. That's what I'm looking to. It's really pulling back now. Nvidia is down 3%. MSTR is down 7%. So like, feels exhaustion. I'm feeling the market's feeling a bit exhausted. Like this is what happens. Like when Jordan mentioned it earlier too. There was a gap up that occurred over the weekend. Like you have to ask yourself, like,
I did just stop out of those, by the way, 15% L.
Yeah.
So keeping the losses small. Obviously, Nvidia getting that continued downside. You're really not seeing any relief bounce right away. Even though I have plenty of time in those contracts, I like to manage the risk tight when I'm swing trading, especially. So getting out of those again. If we get bought up later in the day and we reclaim Friday's low, cool. That's another entry spot for me. But until then, obviously, Nvidia is showing us like continued downside. Don't really want to see it. So until I get a bid and reclaim Friday's low, I'm not really going to be looking to touch that.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I'm just figuring out some SPY points, but I might have missed it. Is Coinbase pulling back too?
Yeah, some big daily levels I have here though, so I don't know. I'm kind of watching for bounces.
Let's see.
Coin's really got to hold up this area though, or else we could very easily go fill that gap. I mean, we basically filled it already, but didn't quite touch that level. And if we do that, that would be the daily 21.
Tesla's red now too. Yeah. See, I'm glad you guys. First off, this is our first time. Like we adjusted the time of our stream from like before it was just an hour before market. Now we're trying to infuse like post market open reactions and how we adjust. You guys perfectly seen it right now, like what happened with me, where first eyes went to Nvidia's red and it's like kind of selling off and the market's taking off. Disconnects. I have to monitor that because Nvidia is what leads the market. Nvidia continued to break through that 140 level. 140 was a key support for that stock. And once it broke, when it tried retesting it, it got clear resistance. I'm like, all right, this is telling me Nvidia wants to go lower. And I do think the market can't be up 1% or 0.7% with Nvidia being down 3%. I don't think that's going to occur, especially on a low volume week. I think the market's going to follow what Nvidia did. That's exactly what happened. Nvidia's down 4% almost now, 137. SPY's pulling back. Q's pulling back. You're seeing everything else follow suit. That's our strategy. Like my strategy is looking at Nvidia, the leader. If it's not ready to break above 140, like the market's going to pull back, especially when it's up. So I don't think the market's going to go red, but I think SPY breaking below 600. I think Nvidia just like not ready to be above 140. Like I just wouldn't be. And SMCI is up 15%. Absolutely wild to me that this is like bucking the trend, but it's a vehicle for a trade. So like either way, I think be cautious out there. I not profit taking, but I need to figure out how to balance being able to stream and communicate my thoughts while also doing a trade, because I would have printed on my SPY puts if I just did it.
It's a work in progress. It took me a while. I do it every day now, Shay. You'll get used to it. Don't worry. Nvidia right now though, we came down to that big daily level from Monday, hitting 137.15. If we're really breaking under that, the next big spot I see is 135.50, the next daily low, and then under that it's another just daily low by daily low, 134.50, and then the low of this range is 132. So if they get continued downside below this NFP level, could be nasty. But they're trying to buy, I'm seeing some buyers kind of off this area. So again, if they want to buy it up later and reclaim Friday's low, I'll be interested for the swing long again, and I'll probably end up taking the same contracts that I had personally. But until I really see that buy up, I don't want to try it again personally, just because, I mean, I tried it, right? I usually wait until my trigger is actually like triggering, but sometimes I'll decide if I want to take some extra risk and try it early. And if it doesn't work out, I can't keep trying it early before I actually get my trigger, right? I'll allow myself to do it once if I think the setup's good, and that's about it. So now I'm waiting for my trigger. If we get it, great. If not, no worries. All good. I'm watching other setups, but yeah, anything else you want to touch on, Shay, before we kind of wrap things up here?
No, just be cautious out there. Don't get too greedy. Don't extend yourself. Try to live to trade another day. Like this rally that we're on, like it's not going to be a couple weeks. Like it's going to be a monumental, like it's going to be a bullish market for quite some time, in my opinion. Especially when you have a once in a generation thematic like AI driving a lot of the big tech companies that have a business and consumer application associated with it. There's going to be a ton of money to be made for the next couple of years at least. So don't overextend yourself. Don't like you'll be really upset that if you lose your gains, not just lose your gains for this year, but you over leverage yourself and you have to like you get margin called, and all of a sudden like all the work you've done all year is gone, and you're entering this golden era, in my opinion, in the markets next year that you won't have the capital that you used to have. So like just be cautious out there. Don't over leverage yourself, and yeah, tune in tomorrow morning. Anything you have to say, Jordan?
No, sir. Just everybody trade safe, follow your plans, and just remember it's Monday. We have a whole week, so don't get too ahead of yourself and get in crazy positions. Yeah, we got the whole week to capitalize, and either way, it's not a super exciting week, right? We're expecting minimal price action, so just keep things smooth sailing this week, and yeah, we'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning.